and Julia Sondu, showing you where development is happening. Please come and join us. Germany to intervene for Israel at ICJ. US, Canada say case is baseless. The United States, Canada, and Germany have expressed their support for Israel in the International Court of Justice's hearing against Israel. Germany will intervene on Israel's behalf as a third party in the International Court of Justice's hearing against Israel, according to Stefan Hebestreit, the spokesman for Germany's federal government. In a Friday press release, Hebestreit stated that while Germany supports the International Court of Justice in its work, it also supports Israel's right to self-defense and rejects the ICJ's accusation of the federal government firmly rejects the accusation made against Israel. It has no basis whatsoever, Hebestreit reiterated in a post on X. Why South Africa has taken Israel to the World Court. South Africa has gone to the ICJ, or International Court of Justice. The court will hear arguments from both sides and will then decide whether to issue an interim order that Israel stop its bombardment of Gaza. Legal experts say the full case to prove Israel is guilty could take years, but the hearings this week are an urgent measure to seek a quick order against Israel in the meantime. If South Africa wins at what is often dubbed the World Court, it will be an international embarrassment for Israel, lawyers told VOA this week. However, while decisions by the court are binding, they are not always followed. Russia, for example, has still not obeyed a 2022 ICJ order that it halt its invasion of Ukraine. Enforcement is typically the Achilles heel of international justice at the ICJ, said Mia Swart, a visiting international law professor at South Africa's University of the Witwatersrand. It's probably highly likely that Israel will not, immediately desist from all military action should the court order this, and this will then have to go to the Security Council. As a permanent member of the top UN body, the US has veto powers and is a firm ally of Israel. Washington, like the Israeli government, has called South Africa's lawsuit meritless. South Africa's support for the Palestinian cause is long-standing, said Gerhard Kemp, a South African law professor at the University of the West of England, Bristol. There's also an historic reason for this. The African National Congress, the governing party of South Africa, has a very long-standing relationship with the people of Gaza, Palestine, with the Palestinian liberation movements, Kemp said. So therefore, there's also historical significance in that South Africa is taking the lead on this by bringing Israel to the ICJ. The African National Congress, or ANC, was itself once a banned liberation movement that led an armed struggle against the white apartheid regime in South Africa, and says it sees echoes of that in the plight of the Palestinians. Former South African President Nelson Mandela was a close friend of former Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat and famously said South Africa's freedom would not be complete until the Palestinians were also free. US says South Africa's court case accusing Israel is meritless. The US has dismissed South Africa's case against Israel at the International Court of Justice, ICJ. South Africa in the case filed at the ICJ last week. As pertains the United States, we are not seeing any acts, U.S. Department of State spokesperson Matthew Miller on Wednesday. White House National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby also said on Wednesday that the U.S. considers the case meritless, counterproductive and completely without any basis in fact whatsoever. Israel rejected South Africa's allegation, terming it baseless and blood libel. South Africa is backing Palestinians in the ongoing conflict, while the US has supported Israel with military assistance and weapons. Canadian, UK leaders reject premise of ICJ case against Israel. Sunak quoted calling South Africa's case completely unjustified and wrong. Trudeau indicates he doesn't back it. after the US branded it meritless. Canada does not accept the premise of South Africa's case at the International Court of Justice in The Hague, which accuses Israel in the Gaza Strip, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau said on Friday. Israel rejected as false the accusations that its state organs had intent against the Palestinians in Gaza during the current conflict with Hamas, which was sparked by the group's devastating attack 3 months ago. Trudeau, pressed by reporters, stressed Canada was a strong backer of the UN's top court, where the hearings are being held. But he added, "Our wholehearted support of the ICJ and its processes does not mean that we support the premise of the case brought forward by South Africa." The United States says the South African case is meritless. Trudeau has consistently said Israel has the right to defend itself after the rampage by Hamas in southern Israel on October 7th. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak also believes South Africa's case is completely unjustified and wrong, according to a spokesperson quoted by BBC News on Friday. The UK government stands by Israel's clear right to defend itself within the framework of international law, the spokesperson was quoted as saying. In a strong show of support for Israel, the German government on Friday warned against political instrumentalization, as it announced it would intervene as a third party before the International Court of Justice. German government spokesman Stefan Hebestreit said Israel was defending itself after the October 7th by Hamas and that Germany would intervene in the proceedings at The Hague under an article allowing states to seek clarification on the use of a multilateral convention. International Court of Justice. The International Court of Justice, ICJ, also called the World Court, is one of the 6 principal organs of the United Nations, UN. It settles disputes between states in accordance with international law and gives advisory opinions on international legal issues. The ICJ is the only international court that adjudicates general disputes between countries, with its rulings and opinions serving as primary sources of international law, subject to Article 59 of the Statute of the International Court of Justice. The ICJ is the successor of the Permanent Court of International Justice, PCIJ, which was established in 1920 by the League of Nations. After the Second World War, the League and the PCIJ were replaced by the United Nations and ICJ, respectively. The statute of the ICJ, which sets forth its purpose and structure, draws heavily from that of its predecessor, whose decisions remain valid. All member states of the UN are party to the ICJ statute and may initiate contentious legal cases. However, advisory proceedings may only be submitted by certain UN organs and agencies. This is the end of our program today. See you on Intervlog same time tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon to get new video updates. Thank you for watching Intervlog. Thank you.